going on, everybody? Today I'm going to tackle getting this new IE inlet pipe for the my 2018 Audi RS5 2.9 liter twin turbo. The stock inlet is here. Pop up this cover so you guys can see. And this should mount up right about here, match nicely to the IE intake over here, and you know, should give this thing some more air to breathe. Hopefully the turbo spool a little faster, and hopefully makes a little more noise too. But I'll let you guys know what tools you need in the description, and also how long it takes for the install. I am a decent DIY guy, but I'm not a real mechanic. So I'm gonna make do with what I got and what I can do, and hope you guys will follow along and enjoy. All right, let's get at it. All right, guys, when you open up the box, you'll see you got the inlet here. You also get a new coupler, which is much larger than the one that comes with the intake, to fit the inlet here on this side. Then also you got your box with all your different couplers. You got the couplers you need. You got the brackets that match up for the inlets. And also all the hose clamps you need. Also for the tools, the instructions say you're going to need a 4mm Allen. I've got ratchet here with the different extensions that we're going to need to reach some things. A T25 and a T30 Torx. A driver here with some different attachments. I like using these rather than a flat head for the clamps, but there's a flat head as it states in the instructions. All right, guys, it's worth mentioning to take this cover off first is your first step. It just pops right up off those grommets. Set it aside. You will need a 14mm ratchet to get these little screws right here broken loose, and also a trim removal tool or anything you have to pry up these little tabs down here. Just pop those in, pull those up, and they will come right out once you pull those up. Set those aside, but you will need to move this whole cover as well as this whole cover before we can get access to most things. I don't think you're going to need to remove this, but I want to remove it and just kind of check around, make sure everything looks good under there. But I'm going to go ahead and remove this plate, and that will let us access the bolts down here for the intake. Pop these up. And set those aside. Got to push down on the lever right here to be able to pull this up. Set that aside, and then you'll be able to pull this straight up. A couple little tabs there, and then you pull it straight out. Remove that, get that set aside. Right. To get this intake out of the way, you're going to need an Allen wrench here that comes with the intake. Number 5 in my kit. I think it's 4mm. Go ahead and loosen those. And keep a magnet tray around, put the bolts in. And that'll make this come loose, which is just sitting in here. Now, instead of using flat heads, I like to use little drivers like this. This is a 9/32 driver. That'll let you easily get these couplers off. Let's see, let's do that. Intake will come out all one piece. I think we're going to go ahead and remove this coupler because we won't use this anymore. We'll use the new supply one. Move that, set that aside. Set the intake up here for now. And here's the inlet that needs to come out. And we're going to go ahead and start loosening up some of the other clamps, which are the same size. Now a flathead, come on here and just pop these clips up off of here. 1 and 2. They come up no problem. Be careful what you're pulling on. There are sensors down here. And that should give us access to our T30 bolts right here. Get the T30. I like a nice long extension so I can get out here and get some leverage. Careful not to drop these because I can't imagine finding them in the engine is great. Set those on our magnet tray. And just right on the next one. Now there are the second bolts underneath, and those look like they are much more difficult to get to. So let's see if we can't fish this attachment through here, past the vacuum lines, and no problem. That long extension should get right in there. And I'm going to get a magnet over here just to make sure I do not drop this bolt. Collect it like that. Now, see, the other one is easy. I have a feeling it won't be. Tool bag. All right, let's see where we need to access this one. I'd like to help us out. And let's see where we're at here. It's gonna be real tight trying to figure out how to get in here because of the different boost pipes that are here. So let's take a look. I think we're gonna go ahead and get rid of the extension. See if we can just get right down after it. Like this. Get right on it. There are some connectors kind of in the way that I had trouble disconnecting, so I'm kind of just leaving it for now. Let's see, might have to get a different extension. See, we got some different extensions here. We'll try to play with some of these to see if we can't make this reach. And offhand, that was already gonna be too long. We'll try this guy. Get you down here past this sensor plug. Looks like we might be able to get it in there. It's tricky. Get the bike, we'll be able to get that out. There we go, we got it grabbing. Let's see if we can get some on it. First one in. So I think we should be able to get it out. Got it broken loose, it's just really hard to get the space to work. It's twisted. Is a pain to try to get leverage to turn, but if you got a small tooth ratchet like this, it should be okay. This is a 90 tooth, and it is turning it. You should be able to get a little more space by moving the inlet itself out just a little bit. Almost there. long threaded screw will up. There we go, it is loose. I get a magnet again so I do not drop that. There are some gaskets. We don't want to lose either. And there we go. Takes patience, but it is doable. Alright, just make sure these gaskets don't fall. Lay it on top. Same with this side. Keep them on the same side so they don't get mixed up. And know which way they face. That, and then you have one of these fun vacuum clips here. We're going to go ahead and attack that with a flathead and see what that's all about. Also get yourself a nice little pick tool here because that'll probably come in handy with these connections. So you won't be able to move this. There is a vacuum line underneath here, right here, that does connect. So you need to remove this one and the one underneath in order to get this off. I think I'm going to go ahead and separate these here so we can have a little more room to work with. Put the flathead underneath and work it around. And try to get some separation. There. That's separated. Have a look at this side. Once you get this vacuum line off, that'll be out of the way, as well as that one here. Let's take an approach to see what we can do here. Looks like just pop the flathead underneath. And that'll be like me and break the tab, being a numbskull. Not quite sure how these clips work. There is a lip that it needs to come off of. I've heard these take quite a bit of force to get undone. I think I'm gonna get creative and get something worked up to try to jimmy underneath that thin sliver of metal, like a hose clamp or something. Let me take a look and see what I got laying around the garage to make these connections. All right guys, what I've come up with is I took a hose clamp, snipped off a chunk of it, kept it round, and I'm gonna try to shove that up underneath that connector. See if that can give us some play. So it's close on that side, but I can get it on this side. So if I can shove this up underneath the lip of this plastic clip, I should be able to shove it up there and get this thing to release. That's what I'm going for anyway. Something like that. That side's loose. There. Rotate it, see if we can get the spin off. I have trouble getting one part of the lip underneath there. So far, this is probably the hardest part of this project I've encountered. Having their clips. See if I bend this a little bit more. Fully wedged under there. It should at some point release this lip. You see what I'm doing? I'm wedging this underneath this lip so that it bypasses this lip right here. We should be able to slide this off now. There we go. All right. A little bit of blow by in there, as you can see. A IE catch can would be nice for this kind of thing if they make one for this platform. But a little sludgy, but as you can see this piece right here, there is this lip that this plastic piece does sit on. What I did was bend this metal clip around it, circular, push it up and in, and it released that plastic piece, letting me get that out of there. That is quite tricky. So if you have a piece of metal like so, or a hose clamp, go ahead and snip off a chunk about yay big, and you can make yourself a nice little tool to get that off. All right. The next one is on the bottom side of this, so this might be a little more difficult to get to. We'll see what we can do. Like that. This one on the bottom is a pinch clamp, so you can pinch and then pull. I'm going to try to give it a squeeze and then a little encouragement with the flathead to help me pry that off the bottom. Drop the light down there. Finally get a grip on this. Which isn't easy, because they give you 0 room to work with. So, if I can get a hand on it, I have to pinch it. We can handle this. So I'm going to grab some pliers to see if I can't grab it that way. I've got the pliers around it. There are some lips there. There we go. Again, as you see, it's this clamp here, vacuum line. It is a pinch clamp, but it's hard to get your hand under there to pinch it. So using a little pair of pliers, it's easy to squeeze and then pop it off that connection there. All right. We got our gaskets there. Some loose pipes. I'm gonna take a look around and just make sure everything looks tight. I had a intercooler installed and an oil filter housing gasket replaced. And I just wanna make sure these guys didn't leave anything loose. Any connections or any potential loose leaks. To appearance, everything looks pretty decent. There is a little sign of oil going into this driver's side turbo out of that inlet pipe. Clean that out. Look at the turbos, make sure they spins nice and freely. Make sure everything looks good. Clean up the mating surfaces before the gaskets go back on. It's always a good idea to clean things before reinstalling something new. All right, guys, for this next bit, to get everything out and situated, here's the adapters, the flanges we're going to use, and the rubber couplers, which come with 2 clamps each, and the force supplied 4mm Allen bolts that they provide, as well as the O-rings that you're going to put in here. So what I like to do first is get a little bit of 3-in-1 oil on these. Don't have any open motor oil right now, but if you just kind of let that oil ring slather around in some oil a little bit, we can get that installed and ensure a snug seal, and it's all good and done. Put that one in there. They do fit loosely, but they do fit perfectly. Get that on there. And give it a little dab. The towel here is to get any excess oil from pulling around. And once that's on there, good to go. We'll get back to the next step, which is getting the inlet installed here, which we're going to put the adapters on first. And I'm going to go read their instructions online, which is great. www.performancebyie.com. And if you go to the product page, it will have instructions for you to install this, which I've been following along with, and it's pretty accurate. I just like to have a visual representation. That's why I'm doing this video for you guys. All right, stay with me. All right, guys, we're gonna install these flanges, and I don't think we use the adapters. The instructions do not say anything, or I'm sorry, we don't use the gaskets that come from the factory, as we got a rubber seal there that'll create this seal, so I don't believe we need those anymore. The instructions do not say to put it back in, so I'm not going to. But what you got here are the 4mm Allen bolts, and I got a 4mm ratchet here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to get these on. Loosen first, we can guide the next one in. Let's see if I have a good shot at it from here. Much easier to access when the inlet pipe is not in your way. Break that up, I feel like we cross thread a little bit. Do it by hand first. Easier said than done. Doesn't seem to want the thread in there. There we go. No, still doesn't want to go easy, and I don't want to force it. So, we're going to try with one of the other screws and see if that gives us any trouble. Back out the top just a smidge. Make sure that isn't any issues there. It gets tight right there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I can't tighten it up a little bit. Don't want to force it because I don't want to strip anything out. We still need the extension. I need a swivel tension because this is just not that sensitive. There, this gives me a little bit more play in the end. See if we can get this now. Go. It does get a little smoother once we break past that point to get stuck at. And if you don't know Torx spec, does not tell me, so I'm just going to go with plenty tight, good and tight. Same top, put that on there, give it a nice turn. These are aluminum, I do not want to crack anything. See, that's good and tight. It does give a nice flush flow. Matches up very nicely to the stock turbo. Flow in there nicely. All right, we'll go ahead and get the second one going. And oil in there, make sure the mating surface is nice and clean. And get the top one started. Get that really tight, and then we'll go ahead and get this bottom one in here. And that might be easier done with it actually on a bit. There's a reach to get back in there. It's in there, those are nice too. And remember, these are not under boost. I just want to make sure there's no vacuum leak because it's all vacuum on this end of the turbo. Again, just kind of good and tight. So if it comes loose, it vibrates most of the time. Have it. Those are on there flush and tight. Alrighty. Next step says grab your inlet pipe. Ta-da. We're going to go ahead and get the silicone couplers ready up. These are going to be way too loose to start with, so we'll get our driver with our bit that matches these. Want to make sure that the couplers and the bolts do face the same way. They have a specific way that they want you to sit them. Seems a little longer on their website, but this is what we got. So I want to get these on here. Go ahead and snug them up to the coupler. Not too tight or else they won't be able to slide over the adapter. We just want to get them on so they're not bobbling around. want you to go ahead and put them on the inlet pipe first, and on this side, they want you to have them facing like so you can gain access. Go ahead and slide your coupler on there, get that one lined up nice. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one down. It's on the actual inlet. Again, it's not under pressure, it's under vacuum, so just make sure it's not leaking. Get the other one on here. Snug this one up so it doesn't fall anywhere on us just for now. And it wants you to have these couplers, clamps rather, go on this way so that you can access the screws from the inside of the inlet here. We'll go ahead and tighten those down too. Leave that relatively loose. Push this one back up a little bit, just so they stay sitting on there but don't go anywhere. And we'll go ahead and get this installed. In which case, it's got to go underneath this line right here. Just ever so gently so we don't pull any wires out. There are wires definitely in the way. And with that wire in the way, I'm actually going to change and clock the position of this one here because there is a sensor right there and it butts up against there, so the instructions are accurate but just not clean enough for my liking to reach things. So we'll go ahead and bring that kind of over the top like so we don't have to worry about that being in the way of our wires. Same with this one, we'll clock that a little bit too. All right, now let's see what we end up with. I said to actually disconnect that, but again, I broke that clip a while back and I'm not gonna mess with it. Let's get it underneath. What I'm hitting something. There we go. All right, try to get everything lined up the best you can with those rubber couplers. If it's all flush on there and nothing's pulling at you, just kind of give it a push and see if you can get it on there. And of course, that's easier said than done, like every other thing that I do in a car. We're gonna loosen this clamp a little bit, as well as this one, just to make sure we got enough play. There, that's what she needed. All right. Before we tighten anything down, let's take a look. Make sure everything is flush where it needs to be, and it is not on this end. We're good on this one. This one is not quite on there as far as I need it to be. A little jiggle. Something's giving us trouble on the bottom side here. Good there. Go ahead and get your clamp in position. Go ahead and tighten this down. Seams, whatever I'm kind of stuck on, needs me to give it a little more finesse, a little persuasion instead. All right, those clamps are tight. We'll move on to this other one. Again, make sure everything's lined up and flush around there. Drill it down. Looks good. Go ahead, tighten that one. Looks good there. Go ahead, get this rather annoying piece back on here. First, I'm gonna clean it out. Looks like we got a little bit of blow by going on here. Catch can again would be real nice to have on this vehicle. Apparently, I had one on my BMW N235i and it did great. that bad boy in there, that's in place. And then there's the one on the bottom side that's right below where my hand is here. That one was difficult to take off. I don't think it'll be as difficult to put back on. You just gotta be able to locate it and push it back on. With the size of this new inlet, that is much easier said than done. It's sitting right on it, so if I can get below it with my hand and just push up, it should pop into place on there. Actually, mine is stuck above it, so I gotta push that down. If I'm able to. And it is not going to give me enough room to do that, so what I'm going to do is just loosen these clamps, give myself some room to work with, and see about getting that thing lined back up to that vacuum line, which is a total pain in the ass. Again, just loosen it from there. I can't get this thing to fall. There we go. And if you get your hand under there, it is snug. I don't even have very good hands, but you should be able to reach it and prop that bad boy up on there. Maybe use some screwdriver to help put some pressure. And I think I just heard it click back in. Let's give it a check. Pull this out. Get in place. Good check here. And it looks like things are in. But I want to make sure that I want to do this again. I'm going to get a bottom screwdriver. Push it in. There, that's what I needed to clip in now. Test, make sure I can't push it back off. That is our PVC system. And it's in there. Success. Alright. Look, we got couplers on there already, so it shouldn't be too much trouble to get this thing to pop back in there. Needs more trouble than it seems like it needs to be, honestly. Flathead, bring the coupler back up to where it needs to be. Same thing on this side. Come around with the flathead. And gently finesse it back into place, like so. There. I've got the vacuum lines back on, clear that cable. These will clip back onto nowhere. I'm just going to kind of use these clips to keep it up and off that inlet pipe. Don't know why it gets hot, we'll see. Get the couplers lined back up. Alright, give it a little push, tighten it back down. So a little note on that, connect that vacuum line at the bottom before coupling these. I would suggest, the instructions don't say so, but I would definitely suggest that. As you see, I just had to undo what I already did. If you're like me, I don't like doing shit twice. There, good and solid. Next, we got this bad guy here. Let's see, we need to put the intake back in first. I would like us to go ahead and put the coupler like so, and like so. So I can throw those on there. This will be the inlet side right here, and this will go to the intake and take the place of the old coupler, which is right here. They are different, in fact, went this way. So you can see the size difference there and how fit the inlet. So we're gonna go ahead and couple this thing onto our intake. That guy in there. If you go too far, we'll see. Got this one here. Go ahead and lower our intake back down and being careful to get it lined up with the screw holes. And hopefully clearing this front shield, which is right here. There. Once that pops through, that's no problem. Intake back down once it gets grounded where it belongs. And do your best to finagle this hose onto your inlet pipe. So we start at the bottom. Yeah, we're starting at the bottom part here. I can easier put it on the inlet first and then the intake in, but hey, we're following the instructions of the pros road. Again, I'm gonna hit this with some 3-in-1 oil. It just really helps to have things slide on. These silicone couplers are quite sticky. opposite of what they tell me. And I'm gonna put that up here whilst I get this thing on here. And again, just a little bit of 3-in-1 oil in here again, just to lube up this so I can slide it around and get it squared up where we need it. Grandpa's handy dandy 3-in-1 oil. Works for everything. So, get that thing on there now. There, no problem now. Get the coupler lined up where we need it. Clamp rather. Alright. Go ahead and get our clamp on the other end as well. Now let me see if I can finesse this in a little bit easier. And I can already tell that's not going to work and line up right because I have this a little bit backwards. We're going to have to hit it like this. In order for it to hit the intake how it needs to hit. Now we get past the heat shield foam bullshit and get this lined up. And let that hang there until we get this down in here. All falls into place nicely once you do get that in there how it should be. Couple over here on the intake. I'm gonna go ahead and take the long bolts for the intake and get those back on there. And that's a 5mm. If you have your intake that came with these nifty long bolts, and that's what you'll need there. Extend it under here. Tight or anything snug. Alright, take this in. It's all solid. Make sure it's down where we need it. Get this hose in, find adjustments before we clamp it down. Get this clamp and push over here. It's on the edge. Okay, tighten this back down. Check this one, make sure it's in there. Couple of good. Drop a clamp because it's clumsy. Just wind up it's facing on top where you can reach it again easily, and then tighten that down. And from there, guys, I think we're done. Everything's snug, everything tight. Everything looks good. Make sure all connections are back. Make sure your vacuum lines are back. You see stuff. Said these clips, they have nowhere to clip anymore, so I just kind of use them to brace it up off the inlet. That's how she looks. Go ahead and tighten that back up. I didn't end up taking that off for anything today. Up and down. There you have it. All in all, took maybe hour and a half to kind of get everything. Most of it was finagling with making tools to try to get that off, like that sliver of metal. Again, that tool right there, I'm gonna keep that around in case I gotta pop these PVC lines off anywhere else. That works great. Little sleeve goes up under, pops the clip. I'm gonna clean this up. I might take this off at some point and have it powder coated. Fits really snugly up against the engine cover. Once that's all clipped down, looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and get a shot of making sure it starts up and everything looks good. All right, there's the finished product. Got it back in place, everything connected, everything good to go. We've got our IE intake, which I don't have the fancy carbon fiber. I don't have any carbon fiber underneath my hood, so I don't really care, but I do think I'm gonna have this powder coated black to match this. All in all, it looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and get a start up and see. guys, there you have it. There's the IE intake and inlet install. For everybody that's wondering, it's like a 4 out of 10 kind of difficulty. Just getting to some of the bolts and getting some of the clamps off is the most difficult part, honestly. Overall, pretty happy with it. We're gonna take it out and drive it, see if we got any kind of, noticing improvements in performance. I'm hoping we do. We'll see. And next time we'll be removing the 034 high pressure fuel pump and installing the integrated engineering one, which I have right here, which seems like a really nice piece and a nice tool that I'm excited about to use, because the 034 first one really sucked. This one right here is an awesome tool. So if you stay tuned, next time around, I'll be installing that and I'll take you guys with me. Thanks for watching. Peace.